The sun of Zytheria was unlike any the humans had seen before. It cast a soft green glow over the floating cities, which seemed to drift gently above the forests like massive leaves on a river. The air was thick with a sweet, unfamiliar scent, and soft hums of alien energy vibrated through the ground, the trees, and even the buildings themselves. Among these cities, the most magnificent of all was Zytherian, the capital of the royal family, where the alien Queen Seraphine ruled with elegance and precision. In the highest tower of Zytherian, Princess Liara leaned over the balcony, her long silver hair shimmering in the green light. Her violet eyes were fixed on the distant horizon, where a small human settlement could barely be seen. Ever since the humans arrived on Zytheria's neighboring planet, Liara had been fascinated by them. She had heard stories of their fragility, their limited technology, and yet somehow their resilience. "They are so small, yet so bold," Liara whispered to herself. She felt a strange excitement whenever she thought of them. But her fascination was forbidden. The Queen had always said that humans were too unpredictable to be trusted, especially by someone of royal blood. Liara sighed. "Why can't I just meet one? To understand them, to see what makes them different?" Her mother's words echoed in her mind. "A human is not your equal, Liara. They are weak, and their choices are dangerous." But Liara couldn't shake the thought. She wanted to see a human not as an outsider, not as a subject of study, but as someone who could show her what courage and creativity looked like in action. The opportunity came sooner than she expected. During a diplomatic mission, Liara and a group of royally appointed observers traveled to the human colony on Elysium Prime, a small planet rich in minerals and dense forests. Humans had settled there for decades, learning to survive and thrive despite the planet's harsh environment. Liara was allowed to observe, but she had to remain hidden. No human was supposed to know she was watching. From a concealed observation point high in the cliffs, Liara saw him. Captain Elias Ward, a human man with sharp eyes and a determined expression, was leading a team through the dense forest. His movements were quick and precise, yet flexible, as if he were constantly adjusting to unseen dangers. Liara's heart raced. There was something about him, a confidence that humans were not supposed to have, a kind of cleverness that could surprise even the most advanced alien minds. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the trees. A massive boulder, loosened by the recent rain, began to tumble down the slope toward a group of human workers. Panic erupted among them. They could not move fast enough to escape. Without hesitation, Elias sprinted toward the falling rock. He shouted instructions guiding the workers to safety. Liara watched in awe as he pushed a large metal crate to shield a small child, then rolled it aside just in time to avoid being crushed himself. He used nothing but his intelligence and quick thinking. No alien technology, no advanced weapons, only what he had in his hands and in his mind. Liara's eyes widened. So this is why humans are admired in stories, she thought. Not for their strength or power, but for their courage and ingenuity. When the danger passed, Elias helped the workers regroup and assessed the area for further hazards. He checked on the child, smiled reassuringly, and then climbed a nearby ridge to scout for other risks. The humans whispered among themselves, clearly impressed but unaware of the royal eyes observing them. Liara felt a pull in her chest, a mix of admiration and longing. She wanted to meet him, to speak with him, to understand this strange, brave creature fully, but how could she? Her mother would never allow it. That night, back in her private chamber in Zytherian, Liara could not sleep. The memory of Elias's actions kept replaying in her mind. She thought about the stories she had read, the tales of humans performing impossible feats against overwhelming odds. But seeing it with her own eyes was different. It was real. "I have to meet him," she whispered, pacing the room. I must see what makes him human." Her personal assistant, a small hovering AI named Leora, hovered silently nearby. "Princess," it said softly, "you are aware that your mother has forbidden contact with humans. Any attempt could be considered a breach of royal protocol." "I know," Liara replied, her voice firm. "But there is a difference between following orders blindly and learning from the unexpected. I need to understand this human. He is different." Over the next few days, Liara found excuses to stay near the observation points whenever humans were present. She learned more about Elias, his leadership, his kindness, and his clever ways of solving problems with minimal resources. She noticed how he treated every member of his team with respect, valuing their opinions and encouraging their ideas. Unlike many aliens she had observed, he did not rely solely on technology or physical strength. He relied on his mind, his intuition, and his compassion. Liara began keeping a small journal, sketching the scenes she witnessed and writing notes about human behavior. She realized that the humans' greatest strength was not in power or numbers, but in their ability to adapt, to think creatively, and to act with courage even when the odds were against them. On the 5th day of her observations, a sudden storm struck the colony. The wind howled, tearing branches from the trees, and the rain fell in sheets, turning the ground into a slippery mess. The humans struggled to secure their equipment, and chaos threatened to take over. Liara's heart pounded as she watched Elias react. Without hesitation, he coordinated a rescue effort. He tied ropes to trees, helped workers navigate the mud, and ensured that everyone reached safety. At one point, he even leaped into the raging river to save a worker who had been swept away. Watching him, Liara felt a surge of pride and awe. "Mother," she whispered under her breath, "if you could see him, you would understand. He is not just a human. He is something more." That night, unable to contain herself any longer, Liara approached the queen during a formal dinner in the palace. The grand hall was filled with diplomats and nobles, all discussing politics, trade, and alliances. The queen sat at the head of the table, radiating authority. "Mother," Liara said, her voice trembling slightly, "please, let me meet him. Let me have this human, even just to speak with him." The queen's eyes narrowed. "Liara, we have discussed this. Humans are unpredictable, fragile, and potentially dangerous. Why do you persist in this foolish desire?" "Because," Liara replied softly, "he is brave. He is clever. He is everything your rules say he cannot be, and I need to understand him. Please, Mother." The room fell silent. Courtiers exchanged uneasy glances, unsure how to respond. The queen's stern gaze fixed on her daughter. "You would defy the laws of our people for one human?" the queen asked, her voice both sharp and incredulous. Liara nodded. "Not to defy, Mother, to learn. To see what humans can do. To see if we can understand them." For a long moment, the queen said nothing. Finally, she spoke, her tone softer but still firm. "Very well, Liara, you may observe him. But only in secret. If anyone discovers this, there will be consequences." Liara's eyes lit up. "Thank you, Mother. I promise. I will be careful." As she left the hall, her mind raced with possibilities. Soon she would finally meet Elias, the human who had captured her imagination and admiration. She didn't know what the future held, but she felt a spark of excitement she had never felt before. The next day, hidden behind a grove of alien trees, Liara watched as Elias led a small repair team. She stayed silent, careful not to reveal herself, but her heart leapt with every action he took. The way he thought on his feet, the way he encouraged his team, the way he acted with both courage and compassion. It was more than she had imagined. Liara realized then that this human was not just brave. He was extraordinary in ways no alien technology or training could replicate. And she knew with certainty that she wanted to understand him fully. As the sun set over Elysium Prime, casting golden light over the alien forests and human settlements, Liara whispered into the wind, "Soon, Captain Elias Ward. Soon we will meet." And in that moment something deep inside her stirred, a mix of curiosity, admiration, and the first hint of a bond that could change both human and alien worlds forever. The night sky of Elysium Prime was dotted with 2 moons, their soft silver light spilling over the alien forest. The wind carried the earthy scent of rain from the recent storm, and the leaves glimmered with tiny droplets. Hidden in the dense foliage, Princess Liara crouched, watching the humans from her secret observation point. Her heart raced as she focused on Captain Elias Ward, who moved with careful precision among his team. Repairing damaged equipment, Liara had been granted permission to observe him, but seeing him in person now made her pulse quicken. She realized that watching was not enough. She wanted to speak with him, to hear his thoughts, to understand the human spirit that fascinated her so much. But how could she approach him without breaking her mother's rules? Her mind raced, weighing risks and opportunities. Then an idea came to her. She activated a small concealed device from her pocket. It sent a soft light and a subtle signal, a harmless but noticeable pattern in the forest, to catch Elias's attention. She held her breath, hoping he would notice it. Elias paused mid-step, his eyes scanning the forest. He tilted his head, sensing something unusual. His hand went instinctively to the small multi-tool on his belt, but he did not draw it. Instead, he stepped toward the source of the light, cautious yet curious. Liara's heart pounded. He's coming. He's really coming. When he emerged from the shadows, she stepped out carefully, making sure not to startle him. The light from her device reflected off her silver hair, making her glow softly in the moonlight. Elias froze, eyes wide. What are you? He asked, his voice steady but alert. Liara raised her hand slowly. Do not be afraid. I mean no harm, she said. Her voice was calm, yet carried a gentle authority. I am Liara, a visitor. From far away, Elias's brow furrowed. A visitor? You look different, not like anyone I've seen before. Liara smiled faintly. That is because I am not from your world. I am from Zytheria. She paused, letting her words sink in. I have been watching you. I wanted to see what humans are capable of. Elias's eyes narrowed slightly. Watching me? Why? Because you are different, Liara said honestly. You think quickly, you act bravely, and you care for others in ways my people cannot understand. I wanted to see it with my own eyes. Elias studied her carefully. Despite her glowing appearance and strange features, there was no threat in her stance or voice. You admire humans? He asked, a hint of disbelief in his tone. Liara nodded. Yes, I admire you. For a moment, silence filled the forest. The only sound was the soft rustling of leaves. Elias finally relaxed slightly, lowering his tool. You're brave, he said. It's not easy to approach strangers, especially someone from another world. Liara took a small step closer. I wanted to speak with you, to learn, to understand what makes humans so extraordinary. Elias considered her words carefully. Humans were naturally wary of the unknown, but he had faced dangers that taught him to trust cautiously. There was something genuine about Liara, something different from the stories he had heard of aliens. Her eyes were curious, respectful, and full of awe, not fear or arrogance. I suppose we can talk, he said slowly, but I don't know what you want from me. Nothing, at least not yet, Liara replied softly. I only want to learn from you, and perhaps to show you my world in return. Elias raised an eyebrow. Your world? Liara nodded. Yes, Zytheria is vast and full of wonders. I cannot tell you everything now, but one day I would like to show you, to see if humans and aliens can understand each other. Elias paused. He had faced countless challenges on his colony, but this, meeting an alien, seeing her courage and honesty, it was unlike anything he had imagined. I don't know if I can handle something like that, he admitted. Liara tilted her head, a small smile playing on her lips. I do not ask you to decide now. I only ask that you trust me, just a little. The wind shifted and the glow from the moons reflected on Elias's thoughtful face. After a long moment, he nodded. All right, I will trust you, for now. But I warn you, humans are not perfect. We make mistakes. I do not expect perfection, Liara said gently. I only wish to see the truth of humanity. For hours they sat at the edge of the forest talking quietly. Liara asked questions about Elias's life, his choices, and the humans' approach to challenges. Elias in turn asked about her world, her people, and the alien technologies he had only glimpsed from a distance. Liara showed him a small holographic map of Zytheria, highlighting floating cities, vast forests, and the flowing rivers of energy that powered her civilization. Elias listened intently, asking questions that reflected both his curiosity and practicality. You live in a world of wonders, Elias said finally. But I noticed something. Your people follow strict rules, and there seems to be little room for improvisation. Liara nodded. That is true. We value order and precision. But seeing you act in the forest, it showed me that there is more than one way to solve problems. Humans adapt. You take risks. You act with heart, and that is something my people rarely understand. Elias smiled faintly. I suppose we are not perfect, but we try our best. And that is what makes you remarkable, Liara replied. Even without advanced technology or superior strength, humans can achieve extraordinary things. The hours passed, and the first light of dawn began to touch the forest. Liara knew she had to leave before anyone discovered her absence. I must return to Zytherian, she said softly. But I promise this is only the beginning. I wish to learn more. If you allow me. Elias stood, his mind racing. I want to see your world too, he admitted. But I have responsibilities here. My people, they depend on me. Liara's eyes shone with understanding. I know, and I respect that. One day, when the time is right, I will show you everything. Until then, we can continue to learn from each other in secret. Elias nodded slowly, feeling a strange bond forming with the alien princess. He had faced danger, storms, and countless challenges. But this, meeting someone from another world who saw value in humanity, was unlike anything else. They parted with a quiet promise, each returning to their own responsibilities. Liara moved swiftly and silently back to her observation point, heart racing with excitement and anticipation. Elias returned to his team, carrying a renewed sense of purpose, though he could not shake the memory of the mysterious, glowing alien who had approached him without fear. Over the next several days, Liara continued her secret meetings with Elias. They learned from each other. He taught her about human intuition, improvisation, and the value of small gestures in leadership. She showed him glimpses of alien knowledge, advanced technologies, and the beauty of her civilization. One evening, as they sat near a calm river reflecting the moons above, Elias asked, "Why do you risk so much to meet me? Why not someone else from your people?" Liara looked at him, her expression earnest. "Because you are human, and humans are unpredictable, clever, and extraordinary. I want to see the world through your eyes, to understand what makes your people different. Not everyone is like you. Not everyone sees the value in effort, in courage, and creativity, but you do." Elias was silent, touched by her words. He had faced many challenges, but rarely had someone recognized the very essence of humanity in such a way. You believe in humans," he said quietly. "I do," Liara replied. "Even when my mother does not." The bond between them grew stronger with each secret meeting. Liara felt her admiration turning into something deeper, a respect and trust that she had never known before. Elias, in turn, found inspiration in her courage and curiosity, realizing that even the most advanced alien civilizations could learn from the human heart. But their growing connection was not without danger. The Queen's spies were vigilant, and one careless mistake could expose their meetings. Liara knew she had to be cautious, yet the desire to learn and understand Elias, and through him, humanity, was too strong to ignore. And so, in the hidden forests of Elysium Prime, under the watchful moons and the quiet hum of alien energy, a human and an alien princess began a secret friendship, one that would challenge traditions, inspire courage, and reveal the extraordinary potential of both species. As Liara returned to her tower that night, she whispered to herself, "One day, Mother will see. Humans are more than you think, and Elias is just the beginning." The night sky of Elysium Prime was calm, yet alive with a strange, otherworldly glow. 2 moons hung low above the horizon, casting silver and pale blue light across the alien forests. The leaves of the tall, vibrant trees shimmered with moisture from the recent storm, and streams of bioluminescent insects weaved through the air like tiny stars dancing in the darkness. Hidden in a dense thicket near a clearing, Princess Liara crouched silently, her long silver hair falling like a curtain around her shoulders. Her violet eyes scanned the scene carefully. In the center of the clearing, Captain Elias Ward moved with careful precision, coordinating the humans as they repaired equipment damaged by the storm. Liara had been granted permission by her mother, the Queen, to observe him from afar, but now, seeing him in person, she realized that mere observation was no longer enough. She wanted to speak with him, to understand this human whose courage and cleverness had captivated her for days. The problem was simple. She could not reveal her identity to him, yet she needed a way to signal her presence without alarming him. After several moments of thought, she retrieved a small device from her pocket. It emitted a soft pulse of light, a harmless signal designed to catch his attention. She held her breath as the first pulse shone faintly among the tree branches. Elias paused mid-step, his eyes scanning the surrounding forest. His hand instinctively went to the multi-tool at his belt, but he did not draw it. He was no stranger to caution, having faced countless dangers, yet curiosity pushed him forward. Carefully he stepped toward the faint glow. Liara's heart raced. "He's coming. He's really coming." When he emerged from the shadows, the soft light from the device reflected on her silver hair, giving her an almost ethereal appearance. Elias froze, his eyes wide. "Who? What are you?" he asked, his voice steady but alert. Liara raised her hands slowly, her body language calm and non-threatening. "Do not be afraid," she said softly. "I mean no harm. I am Liara, a visitor from far away." Elias's brow furrowed. "A visitor, you're not like anyone I've ever seen." "That is true," Liara said with a small smile. "I am from Zytheria, the planet beyond your system. I have been watching you for some time." "Watching me?" Elias asked, a note of disbelief in his voice. "Why?" Liara stepped a little closer, keeping her tone gentle but firm. "Because you are different. You think quickly, act bravely, and care for others in ways my people do not understand. I wanted to see it for myself." Elias's eyes narrowed, scanning her carefully. Humans were naturally wary of the unknown, but he had learned that not all strangers brought harm. There was honesty in her eyes, a quiet respect that distinguished her from the many alien observers he had heard about in reports. "I suppose we can talk," he said slowly, "but I do not understand." "What you want from me?" Liara shook her head. "Nothing, at least not yet. I only wish to learn, from you, from your actions, from your mind, and perhaps one day to show you my world in return." "My world?" Elias repeated, skepticism in his voice. Liara nodded. "Zytheria is vast, full of floating cities, energy rivers, and forests that think almost like we do. I cannot show you everything yet, but I hope one day to share it with you, to see if humans and aliens can understand each other." Elias was quiet for a long moment, digesting her words. He had faced storms, attacks, and countless crises on his colony, yet nothing had prepared him for this. An alien, a princess no less, reaching out across the vast difference between their worlds. Finally he nodded. "All right," he said slowly. "I will trust you for now, but I warn you, humans are not perfect. We make mistakes." Liara smiled softly. "I do not expect perfection. I only want to see the truth of humanity." And so their first real conversation began. Liara asked Elias about his life, the humans' daily struggles, and how they survived on Elysium Prime. Elias, in turn, asked about Zytheria, her people, and the technologies she had hinted at. She showed him a small holographic map of her world projected from her palm. Floating cities hovered above massive forests. Rivers of glowing energy flowed between the cities, powering them without visible machines. Strange creatures moved through the forests, some symbiotic with the environment, others sentient companions to her people. Elias studied it with wide eyes. "Your world. It's incredible, but it seems structured, ordered, controlled." "That is true," Liara said. "My people value precision and rules. But seeing you act in the forest, it showed me there is another way. Humans adapt, improvise, and act with courage. You do things my people cannot. Not because you have superior technology, but because you have heart and creativity." Elias smiled faintly. "We're not perfect, we just find ways to survive and help each other. We make mistakes, sure, but we try our best." "That is why you are extraordinary," Liara said, her violet eyes reflecting the moon's. "Even with limited tools, you can achieve what my people could not by thinking, caring, and acting with courage." They spoke for hours, discussing strategy, leadership, ethics, and the small moments of heroism that often went unnoticed. Elias told her about the human tendency to improvise, how a simple idea, a quick adjustment, or a moral choice could change the outcome of any crisis. Liara, in turn, shared glimpses of alien philosophy and advanced technology, careful not to reveal secrets that could endanger her people. The longer they spoke, the more they realized how much they could learn from each other. Elias admired Liara's intelligence and courage, qualities uncommon even among humans. Liara admired his adaptability, creativity, and unwavering compassion, qualities uncommon among her people. One evening, as the forest glimmered under the twin moons, Elias led Liara to a small river. Its water reflected the moons and soft mist drifted above its surface. Here, away from the humans and the alien monitors, they could speak freely. "Why risk so much to meet me?" Elias asked as he crouched by the river, tossing a small stone into the water. "Why not choose someone from your own people?" Liara considered him for a moment. "Because you are human. Humans are unpredictable, clever, and extraordinary. I want to see the world through your eyes. I want to understand your people's choices, your courage, your failures, and successes. Not everyone is like you, Elias. Not everyone sees the value of small actions, of compassion, of thinking differently. But you do. Elias was quiet, touched by her words. Humans often went unnoticed, underestimated, or doubted. Here was an alien, a princess, recognizing the essence of humanity, valuing what made humans unique. You believe in humans, he said softly. I do, Liara replied, even when my mother does not. For the next week they continued to meet secretly, always at night, always careful not to be seen. Liara observed Elias during crises in everyday life. She saw how he encouraged his team, how he made decisions based not only on logic but also on empathy. She watched how he solved problems creatively, often using what seemed like nothing to the untrained eye. One day, a minor accident occurred in the human colony. A heavy supply container had become lodged between two beams, threatening to fall. Several workers panicked, unsure how to safely remove it. Elias acted quickly. He gathered a few materials and, using his knowledge of leverage and weight distribution, managed to lower the container safely without injuring anyone. Liara watched from her hidden spot, utterly amazed. She realized that humans, though physically weaker and technologically limited compared to her people, had a form of intelligence and bravery that no alien could match. The more she watched Elias, the more she understood why humans could thrive in ways even her mother did not anticipate. During one of their meetings, Liara revealed a small piece of technology from Scifi. It could project holographic images of objects and locations. This is simple, she said, but it shows possibilities. We can record information instantly and share it anywhere. Your people could use it to improve efficiency. Elias examined the device carefully. This could help a lot. But it's not just the device, it's how you think about using it. That's what's impressive. You combine knowledge with purpose, Liara smiled. And you combine courage with intuition. That is what makes humans remarkable. You succeed in ways my people rarely can. Their bond grew deeper with each meeting. They shared stories, laughed at small mishaps, and debated strategies. Liara began to see the world differently, less rigid, more adaptable, more alive. Elias began to see humans through a new lens, not fragile but capable of extraordinary resilience and ingenuity. Yet danger lingered. Scifi's royal monitors were vigilant, and the Queen's spies often patrolled the borders of the human colony. Any mistake could expose their secret meetings, causing political uproar or worse. Liara knew she had to be cautious, but the desire to learn and understand Elias, and through him, the human spirit, was too strong to ignore. One night, while sitting near a glowing pool fed by a small waterfall, Elias looked at her with curiosity. Do you think your mother will ever understand why you care so much about humans? Liara sighed. I do not know. She values order and perfection, but humans are neither. Yet that is why they are extraordinary. Perhaps one day she will see. But until then, I will continue to learn, and I will continue to teach myself to see beyond rules. Elias nodded thoughtfully. Humans do that too. We face limits, rules, and traditions, but sometimes we challenge them, not to break them, but to find solutions that work. The sky over Scifi's floating cities was calm, a gentle green light spilling across the terraces and towers of Scifi. From her private observation balcony, Princess Liara gazed toward the distant horizon, her thoughts consumed with the events unfolding on Elysium Prime. The arena challenge had proven Elias Ward's bravery, ingenuity, and moral strength. Yet she knew the ultimate test still awaited, a challenge that would not only push Elias further, but also force the royal court to reconsider what they thought of humanity. Liara's heart raced. The Queen, her mother, had already been uneasy after learning of the initial meetings. If she discovered what Liara planned next, the consequences could be severe. Yet the princess knew that humans had a unique potential, and Elias, with his courage and creativity, could reveal it in ways the Queen might never have imagined. Liara said, addressing her hovering AI assistant, prepare the final stage. Everything must be perfect. This is not just a test for Elias. It is a message for my people. The AI responded softly. Understood, Princess. All systems are ready. Will you observe from a safe location? Liara shook her head. No, I must be present. I need to witness what humans can do with their ingenuity, courage, and heart. This will be unlike any challenge before. Meanwhile, on Elysium Prime, Elias prepared for the next message from Liara. He had received an encrypted communication instructing him to travel to a specific location, a plateau overlooking a dense alien forest, where the final test awaited. Despite the fatigue from previous trials, Elias's curiosity and sense of responsibility drove him forward. Upon arrival, Elias found the area transformed into an intricate labyrinth, suspended above a deep ravine. Bridges of light and floating platforms hovered precariously, moving unpredictably. At the center was a massive structure, an alien control hub glowing faintly with energy. This was where the final trial would occur. Liara descended from her concealed location, appearing at the edge of the plateau. Her silver hair shimmered in the alien light and her violet eyes glowed with anticipation. "Elias," she said softly, "this is the final test. It will challenge every skill you have. Your mind, your courage, your judgment, and your heart. Are you ready?" Elias studied the labyrinth, noting the constantly shifting obstacles and energy barriers. "I've faced storms, traps, and impossible puzzles before," he said. "But this will require everything I have." Liara nodded. "It will and more. But I believe you can succeed. You are not just a human. You are a symbol of what your people can achieve when they act with courage and creativity." With a deep breath, Elias stepped forward into the labyrinth. The first section was a series of moving platforms, suspended over a glowing chasm. Unlike the previous arena, these platforms were far more unstable, some tilting unpredictably, others shifting in ways that required split-second timing. Elias observed, calculated, and adjusted his steps, moving with careful precision. Liara watched from a nearby observation point, her heart swelling with admiration. He doesn't just survive. He adapts. He doesn't panic. He observes. Humans are extraordinary. The next section was a puzzle of light and sound. Panels of glowing glyphs covered the walls, floors, and ceilings. Elias had to step on them in the correct sequence to advance. Each wrong step triggered harmless but disorienting energy pulses, testing his focus and patience. He paused, analyzing patterns, listening to subtle hums and noticing faint differences in color and vibration. Slowly, methodically, he progressed through the sequence, never losing his composure. Liara's violet eyes followed every movement. She noted how Elias combined logic with intuition, never rushing, always adjusting to new information. This is what humans do best, she thought. They see what others overlook, find solutions in chaos, and move forward with courage. The third section tested leadership and empathy. A group of robotic alien creatures was trapped in energy fields, similar to the previous arena but far more complex. The only way to proceed was to rescue them. But the traps were interconnected. Freeing one incorrectly could endanger the others or block the path forward entirely. Elias knelt, studying the mechanisms carefully. He considered the risks and benefits of each action, prioritizing safety while maintaining progress. With careful timing and clever use of available tools, he freed each creature one by one, demonstrating not just intelligence but moral courage, a willingness to act ethically even when personal safety was at stake. Liara felt a rush of pride. This is exactly why I admire humans. They succeed not because they are invincible, but because they act with integrity, creativity, and courage. Next came the trial of endurance and adaptability. A dense alien forest with ever-shifting gravity awaited him. Trees floated sideways, platforms rotated, and vines pulsed with energy that altered the pull of gravity. Elias climbed, jumped, and swung from vine to vine, using every ounce of strength and ingenuity he had. At times he slipped, but he adjusted immediately, learning from the environment and improvising solutions on the fly. Liara watched, amazed at the fluidity of his movements. Humans relied not only on physical ability, but also on instinct and adaptation. Unlike aliens who often relied on precise calculations, humans could improvise and act in ways that defied prediction. The final trial, however, was the most dangerous, a maze of moral dilemmas. Holographic projections appeared showing people or creatures in peril. Some needed immediate assistance, but doing so could trap Elias or trigger alarms. Others required careful calculation, waiting for the right moment to act. Each choice carried consequences, testing not just his courage but his empathy, ethics, and decision-making under pressure. Elias paused at each scenario, evaluating the risks. He prioritized those in immediate danger, devising clever ways to rescue them without endangering others or himself. Each success reinforced his confidence. Each failure taught him a lesson. By combining careful observation, moral reasoning, and creativity, he navigated the trials with remarkable skill. Liara's heart raced as she observed. Even my people, with all their advanced technology, would struggle to make these choices. Humans think in ways we cannot predict. After hours of navigating the labyrinth, solving puzzles, and making ethical decisions, Elias reached the final chamber. At its center floated a crystal sphere pulsing with energy. A holographic interface projected from the sphere, displaying complex alien algorithms and systems. The task was clear: deactivate the sphere safely without triggering defensive measures, and without harming any nearby energy nodes critical to the arena. Elias examined the interface, noting patterns and sequences. Unlike aliens, he could not rely on sheer calculation speed. Instead, he combined logic with intuition, experimenting carefully and adjusting as he learned. The sphere pulsed rapidly, almost as if testing him, but Elias remained focused, methodical, and patient. After several tense moments, the sphere's energy stabilized, the algorithms neutralized, and the final barrier to exit the labyrinth opened. Elias stepped forward victorious. Liara descended from her observation point, her expression radiant. She approached him as he caught his breath. "You did it," she said softly, her violet eyes shimmering. "You succeeded where even the most skilled aliens would hesitate." Elias smiled, exhausted but elated. "It wasn't just skill," he said. "It was observation, patience, improvisation, and caring about the right choices. That's what got me through. Humans survive because we don't just rely on power. We rely on mind, heart, and adaptability." Liara nodded. "Exactly. That is why humans are extraordinary. You don't just solve problems, you understand them, you adapt, you care. Even my mother, with all her wisdom and technology, has yet to see this truth fully." For a long time they sat together in the clearing, discussing every obstacle, every decision, and every lesson. Elias explained how he had analyzed each challenge, improvised solutions, and maintained moral integrity. Liara shared her observations, noting how human creativity, resilience, and empathy set them apart from even the most advanced alien beings. As night fell, the twin moons cast silver light across the forest. Liara turned to Elias, her expression serious yet hopeful. "I need to show my mother what you have accomplished. She has always valued order, precision, and technology above all else, but you represent something she has yet to understand. Humans are unpredictable, yes, but that unpredictability combined with courage and morality is a strength she cannot ignore." Elias nodded. "Then let's show her. But we have to be careful. She will not easily accept this." Liara smiled. "I know, but change begins with proof. And today, you have given proof that humans are capable of extraordinary things." The next day, Liara and Elias prepared for a controlled demonstration in the royal court. The queen had demanded a private audience, unaware that her daughter had orchestrated a full display of human ingenuity, bravery, and moral reasoning. Courtiers and royal advisors assembled in the grand hall, curious and tense. Liara and Elias entered together. Liara's presence commanded attention, while Elias's calm confidence conveyed the quiet strength she had admired for weeks. "Mother," Liara said, addressing the queen directly, "I present to you a human. Not as a servant, not as a tool, but as an example. Watch, and you will see why humans are extraordinary." Elias stepped forward, explaining how he had. The morning sky of Elysium Prime was painted in soft hues of rose and gold, the light spilling across the alien forests and distant mountain ranges. Birds of strange shapes and colors flitted through the air, and rivers shimmered in the sunlight, reflecting the two moons that still lingered faintly in the sky. It was the day that would define the future, both for humans and for Zytheria. Princess Liara stood at the edge of a cliff overlooking the vast forest. Her silver hair flowed in the gentle wind, and her violet eyes scanned the horizon. Beside her stood Captain Elias Ward, weary but resolute. The final demonstration for the Queen and the Royal Council had already shaken her mother's assumptions. But Liara knew that this next phase would solidify humanity's place in the wider galactic order. "You are ready," Liara said softly, placing a hand on Elias's shoulder. "Not just for today, but for what comes after. Today you will show that humans are capable of more than anyone could have imagined." Elias nodded, taking a deep breath. He had faced the arena, solved complex puzzles, rescued lives, and proved moral courage. But now he understood that this moment was more than a test. It was a bridge between worlds. "Let's do this," he replied, determination shining in his eyes. Liara activated a small device in her hand. A soft hum resonated through the air as a holographic projection of the final challenge appeared before them. It was a simulation of an interstellar threat, a rogue asteroid on a collision course with Elysium Prime, its surface unstable and its trajectory unpredictable. The Queen, her council, and select observers from Zetheria were monitoring from afar, eager to see whether humans could handle a task that even the most advanced aliens might struggle to solve. "This is not just strategy," Liara said. "It will require intuition, rapid problem-solving, teamwork, and judgment. You will have limited tools, and your decisions will affect millions." Elias studied the holographic asteroid. He noticed fractures along its surface and calculated the rotational forces that could destabilize it. Without alien technology, humans would not be able to physically stop the asteroid, but that was not the point. The challenge was about thinking creatively, using what was available, and coordinating resources to minimize damage. He turned to Liara. "I need to assemble a team. I cannot do this alone." Liara nodded. "Of course. You must rely on human ingenuity and collaboration. That is part of what makes your people extraordinary." Elias quickly gathered the humans present in the simulation, engineers, pilots, and scientists, assigning roles based on their expertise. He explained the problem, outlining the asteroid's trajectory, potential hazards, and the tools they had at their disposal. But he did not dictate every action. Instead, he encouraged them to contribute ideas, debate options, and propose solutions. "This is human thinking," Liara whispered to herself. "Not a machine, not a rulebook. A mind that adapts, experiments, and leads with courage." The team devised a plan. Using a combination of propulsion devices, controlled detonations, and trajectory adjustments, they could redirect the asteroid's path just enough to avoid Elysium Prime while minimizing risk. Each step required precise coordination and rapid adaptation. Elias directed the team, communicating calmly and clearly, adjusting their actions as unexpected variables arose. When a minor miscalculation caused a trajectory error, he quickly revised the plan, demonstrating both leadership and ingenuity. The humans worked tirelessly, improvising solutions that even advanced alien simulations had not accounted for. Liara's eyes shone with pride. She observed every choice, every decision, and every moment of human creativity. Even when the asteroid's path became unpredictable, Elias and his team adapted, thinking quickly and ethically, ensuring minimal risk to life and property. Finally, after hours of careful planning, adjustments, and teamwork, the asteroid's trajectory shifted. The threat to Elysium Prime was neutralized. The holographic simulation dissolved, leaving the humans standing victorious. Liara stepped forward, her silver hair glowing in the morning light. "You did it," she said softly. "You did what my people thought impossible. You used courage, intelligence, and compassion, and you succeeded." Elias breathed heavily but smiled. "We didn't just succeed because of planning. We succeeded because we worked together, adapted, and cared about every choice we made. That's what humans do." The Queen, who had been observing silently, finally spoke. Her voice carried authority but also awe. I underestimated your people, Liara, and I underestimated this human. He has done what my people would have struggled to achieve. Humans are remarkable." Liara smiled, relief flooding her. "Mother, Elias has shown what humanity can do. Their courage, ingenuity, and moral strength are not weaknesses. They are extraordinary strengths. The Queen regarded Elias carefully. You have proven yourself, Captain, not only in skill and intelligence, but in leadership and heart. Your people may have much to teach us yet. Elias bowed slightly, showing respect. Thank you, Your Majesty, but I did not act alone. Humans succeed because we think, we adapt, and we work together. That is what makes us capable of extraordinary things. Liara and Elias spent the next several days working closely with the Royal Council and human teams. They developed collaborative programs, sharing knowledge and strategies. Liara guided the humans in understanding alien technology, while Elias taught the aliens about human adaptability, creativity, and moral reasoning. During this time, Liara observed the subtle changes in her mother. The Queen's rigid belief in order and precision slowly softened, replaced by appreciation for the unpredictable ingenuity of humans. Where she once saw risk, she now saw possibility. Where she once saw chaos, she now saw creativity. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the floating cities, Liara and Elias stood together on a balcony overlooking the alien capital. Mother is beginning to see, Liara said softly. She will never fully abandon her beliefs, but she understands now that humans have a place among the stars. Elias smiled faintly. It's amazing what a little trust and collaboration can do. I've learned as much from your people as they've learned from us. Liara nodded. And the universe is only beginning to understand. Humans can inspire change, solve problems, and rise above limitations in ways that even the most advanced civilizations cannot always anticipate. Days turned into weeks. Humans and Zetherians began joint projects, sharing technology, solving environmental challenges, and exploring distant planets together. Elias became a symbol of human potential, admired not only for his courage and intelligence, but also for his ability to inspire collaboration across worlds. Liara observed it all with pride. Humans had proven themselves not through domination or force, but through creativity, courage, and moral integrity. They had succeeded in ways that no alien technology could replace. One afternoon, Liara and Elias returned to the forest where their first secret meetings had taken place. The trees glowed faintly, the streams shimmered, and the bioluminescent insects danced in patterns reminiscent of the past. It was a place of reflection, of memories, and of hope. You've changed everything, Elias said softly. Not just for humans, but for your people as well. Liara smiled. No, Elias. You've changed everything. You've shown what humanity can do. And you've shown me that courage, creativity, and compassion are universal strengths. My mother and my people have begun to understand that. Elias looked at the horizon. Do you think humans are ready for more, for exploring beyond our system? Liara nodded firmly. Humans are ready. They have always been ready. They just needed the opportunity to prove it. And now, they have. Together they watched. The twin moons rise above the forest, their silver light reflecting the possibilities of a universe no longer divided by fear or misunderstanding. They had faced trials, challenges, and skepticism. They had navigated arenas, solved impossible puzzles, and proven the moral and intellectual strength of humanity. And in that moment, Liara realized something profound. The future was not determined by technology, power, or authority. It was determined by courage, creativity, and the choices individuals made every day. Humans embodied these qualities in ways that could inspire entire civilizations. Elias turned to Liara. What comes next? He asked. Liara smiled. Next, we continue to learn. We continue to explore, and we continue to prove that humans are extraordinary. Not because they are perfect, but because they are brave, clever, and compassionate. As the moons cast their gentle glow over the forest, the partnership between human and alien grew stronger. Together, they planned new missions, collaborative projects, and explorations beyond their worlds. The bond they had forged in secrecy had transformed into a bridge between species, a symbol of hope, understanding, and shared courage. In the royal capital, the queen watched from her tower, a quiet smile on her face. She no longer saw humans as fragile or unpredictable. Instead, she saw potential, ingenuity, and moral strength that even her advanced civilization could respect. Liara and Elias stood together, looking toward the horizon, knowing that the universe held countless challenges, but also countless opportunities. And humans, with all their ingenuity, courage, and heart, were ready to face them. The adventure was far from over. The arenas had been conquered, the trials completed, and the queen's proof.